Majority responded that we must establish the Workman Code in economic control. The reason is that Lofa was one of the counties that suffered serious losses during the war. I lost my father because his house got ruined by illegal factor. And as soon as he heard that news, he said, huh? And that was the end of him. He died. So as the Saracens feel latches of the war that took place. Today, Liberia is called or is known as a country with growth without development. The way we have mustered the courage to sign this resolution, can we as senators muster the courage not to allow any Google concession to pass through this house again? Can we, as senators, can we encourage that no Google concession pass here before a concession passes this house? Can we scrutinize it and feel and make sure that the Liberian people benefit from the resources? So the issue is us. Madam Pro-Tem, thank you so much, fellow colleagues, for this opportunity. In my opinion, and in my closing remark to this Senate, I think this is a bid to undo the past and do the right thing for Liberia, and Liberia will benefit after this workman code is signed and implemented. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Following County. Senator Adam Levin Slogan.
Thank you, sir. Madam Pro-Tem, distinguished colleagues. Let me start first by letting the record reflect, because when you go now on the social media, there are different accounts as to how many presidents signed. So let the record reflect that out of 29 senators, 28 senators have signed. And even the one senator did not sign, give a reason why, based on the Constitution, and what is clear, he will sign. So it shows that the Senate in its totality have an agreement on the establishment of the war in the country. Having said that, Pro-Tem, let me start by thanking the President for mustering the power to mention the establishment of War and Economic Crime Code in this inaugural address. Let me also thank you, Madam Pro-Tem, for speaking to your colleague senators, giving us reason to sign a resolution for the War and Economic Crime Code. For Pro-Tem, I want to thank you and the President and Cabinet that if the President's inaugural speech in your plea or discussion with your fellow senator is just a political charade, then please withdraw my signature. If you mean business, let's do business. Nobody should play politics with my signature on the War and Economic Crime Code in Liberia. Want it? Let's go for it. Nobody should tell us, it was just because we wanted to please people. No. When I got in session today, someone sent me a picture on the front of my back and sent me a message and said, Mr. Allen White, who is here, is witnessing your session. And those that will not vote for the War Crime Code will put it on session. I want to say today, if I knew Mr. Allen White was going to be here, I wasn't going to sign. I wasn't going to sign because I'm not signing this War Crime Code to please Mr. Allen White. And if Liberians will be 20 sanctions, I'm happy today Mr. White see where we went from. He's here in our session. Because he wants the war. Whether it's a decision of the US government or it's an NGO decision, we don't know. We'll sign it because we want, but our decision, we sign it. But let me state some facts. In 1980, Liberians were placed on firing squad in this country. Behind the barrel, they killed. And after that, the government that killed those Liberians got more budgetary support from the US than any other government got. We have the support of the French government. We are the French government taking care of our country. They show what in the budget. Every country gives what we call the country report. And the ECOWAS family that will talk about the political situation, the economic situation, we can carry all. When the French people go to speak, they tell us here the French government gave us $1 billion to do this project, to do healthcare, education. When the Commonwealth country go to speak, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Gambia, or Nigeria, when they go to speak, they tell us where Great Britain is giving them for development. When Liberia goes to speak, we talk about budget shortfall. But we don't know who is giving us what. Today, we have no direct American investment in this country. And people say, because we now have one economic code, so American, we don't even have Burger King in Liberia. All over. The only investment that came there since the war was to break Canada down to build a hotel. Now, we don't have a cultural village today. But one war crime code. If this war crime code will bring dignity to our country, and we improve JFK, and we improve our road condition, I've signed for it today. I've signed for it today. If this war crime code will bring about economic development, prosperity for Liberia. We have Ebola in this country. I can tell you what the US government spent in Guinea and Sierra Leone that had Ebola compared to JFK that we could not renovate. And when we talk, everybody gets scared because people don't want to go on sanction. I was paying on sanction in this country for 10 years. We talk about war crime. Let's talk about justice also. People sat down outside Liberia and put some on leave or sanction here because according to them, we have ongoing ties with the Procedural and I can challenge them. Only reason the government signed was married to, if getting married with somebody will put you on sanction, and that's justice, sad. Nobody encourages them. So there's some of our police saying that us in the session today are placed on a sanction. And in the sanction regime, they say, oh, you can talk to your colleagues. And when they see you talking to them, you are threatening to go on sanction. If that's why we are signing this economic pact for today, I will sign it. But let justice be done. At least today, we're talking about taking people to court. They are putting our colleagues on sanction here today. And people are rejoicing with our due process. Our due process. And when you talk, they say they'll put you on sanction. I'm ready today to go on sanction. But let's all speak justice. Let us speak justice. Okay? This country, whether we like it or not, is divided on green and blue lines. Take it that Liberia is perhaps more divided than ever been. On blue line or green line. And like my colleague from Liberia said, our agenda is war and economic transformation. What more? I went to open on home in Liberia. And I saw where Zoe come from. Zoe is a nephew of the late Samuel Doe, who was killed by Prince Johnson. Today in our session, Zoe Pennon and Prince Johnson share seat. They're not fighting each other. Or one Johnson is the world transport. In 2005, 2006, when I was elected here as Speaker, the Secretary of the Senate is still sitting there, same way. The late Kabah, former chief clerk, is so rest in peace. And the Sergeant at Arms were preparing the Capitol grounds for inauguration. And as we went in the left corner, that area behind the Speaker office down there in the fence to clean up this protest, maybe some of you don't know. That place in this Capitol building, there's nothing but standing on stuff. Today is still there. The Chinese people that were killed on the mansion from LU, from the unknown soldiers, their body was dropped in this Capitol building. But I didn't have the courage when it failed. Inauguration day, we do not have grace to go and sleep out. Unfortunately, the World Economic Code is the solution for a new Liberia. I stay with that solution for you. I'm a child that when Daba Baba said, of Mana River Breaking, I was born there. My parents were there for over 30 years in retired. Our people still have not received the just benefit for retirement. Some of them have died. I worked there, my father has died, my mother still died. Thousands of our people have not even been paid. Of government. Where is the economic plan? Where? So, pretend, I don't want to take the entire day to talk about this. I hope that today is not just for political sharing. We want a camera. We're afraid that Mr. Anywhere is here, so we're afraid. I'm not afraid. If I do so well, you have no son. But I believe its objective is to look for the chances of people. And I don't know if it's a U.S. government project or it's an NGO project.
Mostly NGO.
I'm not signing out of threat. I'm signing because I want to see the breath, the real breath of a new Liberia. And we are honest about this. We are prepared to do it. Our speaker in this country, when Mr. Charles Taylor was arrested, brought to Rawalpindi, taken to Sierra Leone. I was in Manasali's office that day with his national security advisor, Bernard Famule. What did they say? President Obasanjo was about to land in New York for the Security Council UN General Assembly. They refused for Obasanjo to get out of the plane until Charles Taylor was turned over. And that day they said, if the Taylor is turned over, America will do this in Liberia. And this will happen in Liberia. That will happen in Liberia. So Taylor is in prison. Nothing has happened yet. What 50,000 folks. Our people still go to the U.S. embassy and stay under the rain in the sun. So I'll be denied U.S. visa or given 3 months single entry visa when our friends from neighboring Sierra Leone and Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana get 10 and 5 years visa in the passport. That's why I tell you because we get many people 1 year entry in Liberia. That's a lie. That's a lie. How can we be the product of the United States of America and we are mistreated by the Americans? Then we are proud to talk about we don't want to go sanction. Come with fellow sanction. When you talk to say putting on sanction, why are you putting on sanction? Nobody can talk about it. We had a meeting here the other day with the Rubber Growers Association. Firestone that we walked into that meeting. And when they saw some of our colleagues in that meeting, they walked out of the meeting because our colleagues on sanction, they did not talk to us. Matter of fact, Firestone plantation is in McGill County. And two of us send up to that country on a sanction day. So many people are abroad. That's the case. Where is the justice? Brooklyn, where is the justice? Why would we acting the cowards? Why? This is Liberia. This is Liberia. People will kill here. The Lutheran Church massacre. Tomorrow, or Greystone, Cattle my head bridge. When I saw Senator Prince Johnson today raging, I understood his frustration. Because we have so many leaders walking calling abroad to know that it's a Prince Johnson affair. Let's discuss war crime in totality. Let's discuss economic crime in totality. Put that close and no child will be talking. Not talking to your people. Let's discuss it in totality. Let me quote him. Let's discuss it in totality. Don't come in and exploit our resources. And when you talk, you're scared to talk. You know how I feel? I go to my colleagues in the region and they're boasting about what Great Britain is doing in their country as a Commonwealth country. And the French people are boasting what the French people are doing in their country. And I cannot boast about what America is doing in my country. Because America either want their chancellor or they want economic and war transport. If this will be the new beginning of a new Liberia, where we'll see direct U.S. investment, and America will pay attention. That was the road that we were crying on today. I drove on that road on Sunday. We so call it Death Trap. See the improvement on that road now. Even the just in the election, when ECOWAS and other member states, including the US, the UN, were giving us money for our election, the United States will not give us money for our election. We have to generate it from the national budget, taxpayers' money. Or we can raise money today for war and economic crime code. I hope that money will come. I hope the justice of our people will come. I hope America will realize that Liberia and Liberians suffer in this country. And will finally turn their eyes to Liberia to bring justice, to bring development, and direct investment to give our people jobs so that the World Crime Code agenda, World Economic Code agenda will be satisfied. I submit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Edith Senator Tala, Omi County.
Yes, sir.
Senator Anthony Emmanuel James Nukwe, Maibibi County.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues. I support an end to the culture of impunity in our country, and I certainly support the arrest agenda. That's why I signed on the resolution, because I firmly believe that the establishment of the War and Covenant Crimes Code, as well as a domestic crime code, is a regime approach. It is an approach of this regime to establish War and Economic Crimes Code. And it has been so. What had its debate nonsense. As you all will agree with me, we have experienced 18 years of democratic governance and peace, unhindered peace in our country since the end of our civil crisis. In those 18 years, had this not been a regime approach, we have long since passed this. But because I believe this is one of the rule of law bill of the arrest. That's why we are here at this point in time, doing what we are doing. Honor President, we are, as a Senate, we had an opportunity to debate this matter. The Senate then thought otherwise. Because the regime of the day was not thinking in the direction of establishing war and economic grounds code. But thank God today the Arrestor General, under the rule of law bill, is very much interested in establishing war and economic crimes code. And as such, we must act fast, if not with 4G speed, to ensure that we pass on a resolution that will be submitted to the President as President our intent and support for the war crimes and domestic economic crimes code. Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues, while it's true that I support an end to the culture of impunity in our country, while it's true that I support rule of law, while it's true that I support justice, but I have a little bit critical view of the way we conduct business in this country. We don't have a tailored country approach. We have, from time to time, we have had, and it is, we will continue to have regime approach. If we continue to adopt regime approach to the different development issues, this country is never going to be developed. As indicated, in 18 years, war and economic crimes code were not placed on the front burner of any of our development discussions. Just recently, in 2021, this very Senate decided that the establishment of war and economic crimes code run contrary to the Accra Peace Accord and even to the TRC document. We took that decision. What has changed is because the current regime wants it. So we all fall in line. And my protest, that's why when we return and every senator had an opportunity to speak here and present to this plenary training development issues or challenges in our different counties, I, in concluding my statement, made an appeal for us to derive an agenda for the Senate for leadership. Because I see clearly this is a problem in our country. In every sphere of our democratic governance, the issue of properly planning what we want to do so that we use our plan as a roadmap is lacking. Take for instance, on our current democratic dispensation, we went to campaign. Everybody campaign. We all follow the campaign. I'm one person who I take keen interest in political messaging. And by listening to all of the parties, nobody ever mentioned war crimes code. Nobody campaigned on the establishment of war and economic crimes code as I follow through. I'm quite sure if some of those who are saying what is happening here today knew that this was going to be happening, their support would have been in other direction. I'm just hoping that some didn't buy a pig in the bed thinking it was a chicken. On a protest, this is a very serious issue. If we fail to plan, it's going to be extremely difficult for us to succeed. I follow many of my colleagues who made very brilliant presentations, but in many respects, you are very critical. Nobody is opposed to the establishment of war and economic crimes code in our country. But while it is true that this is important, it is also true that there are many other issues that far threaten our national existence as a country than the establishment of war and economic crimes code. Those who demonstrated in Kinjal and in the process, some of them lost their lives. They did not demonstrate because they wanted war and economic crimes code to be established. They were demonstrating because they don't feel benefited by the presence of an investment that is extracting the resources that's supposed to develop this country or their country. I've campaigned since 2005. I followed different campaigns since 2005. And let me restrict it to my own country. There's nowhere in my country that I'm protesting distinguished police. There's nowhere since 2005 that I ever campaigned in my county and someone spoke to me about the establishment of war and economic crimes code as a priority issue. Nowhere in my giving, nowhere. That the people prefer the establishment of war and economic crimes code over the issue of the reconstruction of CH20 Hospital. Actually, I went in 2018, CH20 Hospital got gutted by fire. And since then, that hospital has not been rebuilt. There are many areas in our county where we lack rural connectivity, even where there are existing health institutions. Many of the health workers are volunteer workers. Even to many of the schools, many of the teachers are volunteer workers. Even during the campaign, you heard health workers campaigning with a slogan, "You harmonize my pay, we will harmonize your vote." Yeah, they talk about war and economic crimes. That's much as it is important. There are by far too many other issues that continue to bedevil the progress of our people, for which we need to concentrate and derive the solution. If you look at the national budget as presented by this government to us, 692 million, and you go through the details, most of the institutions don't even have money for programs. And the reality now is that the $692 million budget cannot properly address the development of science of our country. Which clearly indicates that we need help. The president came up with an agenda for arrest. And the different pillars of the arrest include rural, agriculture, education, tourism, rule of law, and the rest of it. What is the cost? What will be the cost of the arrest agenda in 6 years? How much money can we raise as a country to execute the arrest agenda? How do we fund the gap? Those issues are not being addressed. So we are here placing on the front burner of our development pillars the establishment of war and economic crimes code. We have heard in some quarters that there's some $200 million somewhere for the establishment of this code. Are we looking for money only for the establishment of this code, or are we looking and seeking for opportunity for us to successfully execute the arrest agenda? I think that while it's true, this is an important step which we believe will put an end to the culture of impunity in our country. But I also believe that in some respect would create some problems in terms of some of the actors who successfully made or ensure that this ship anywhere it is. I also believe that this might make some of the other priority issues to elude us, which I think in the end, for those of us, or many of us, who will have the challenge of going back to our countries to make reports to our people in terms of what we have done for them at the national legislature, we must not be in the position to give them the proper answers. There's nowhere in my DB I can go and make a presentation that yes, you send me to the legislature, but I established for you war and economic principle, and I'll be credited for that. Rather than building schools, building roads, ensuring that teachers are placed on payroll, government payroll, ensuring that healthcare workers are placed on government payroll, ensuring that civil servants get a pay raise. So, my brother, why it's true that we go over all of these, I want to join some of my other colleagues to crave their indulgence for us to use the same energy as we are doing in terms of establishing war and economic principle, so that we can work with the executive branch of government to properly cost the arrest agenda and to derive a methodology with the executive branch of government as to how the funding gap, because I'm quite sure if you cost the arrest agenda, there will be funding gap. How do we fill that gap? Thank you.
Senator Nathaniel F. Montague.
Distinguished colleagues, let me first of all use this opportunity to thank the majority bloc, led by Senator Abachi. I want to thank you for your leadership. The issue of justice in Liberia is very cardinal. And as one of the individuals who stand accused, critically accused of financial crime in Liberia, I cannot overemphasize the need for justice. As you know, the history of Liberia, especially when it comes to economic crime, the issue of corruption. We have a history in 1980 when 13 innocent men were executed on a pole on allegation of rampant corruption. My information is, even after the execution of those 13 men, the people later find out that some of the individuals not even have a cent in their bank account. I stand accused that I have $5 million in my mother's bank. Yet, no one can tell me what I now $5 million do as this. And I've been a champion of this cause because I want justice, not only for myself, but for our parents, our brothers and sisters who were killed. It's not an issue that is directed at a particular person. And I want to agree with most of my friends who have said that this debate should not be a political debate. It should not be about just standing before the camera and signing a resolution just for a political reason. We want the government to ensure that the courts will really be established, that justice will be served, so so that people will not be accused in this country of corruption, even though there is no corruption. That people have an opportunity where due process will exist, and those accused will have an opportunity to defend themselves. A lot has been said. And so I don't want to take the time to lecture. But now that we have made the first significant step on our protest, we want to work with the President of the Republic to ensure that these documents, these resolutions, will not be a mere resolution. Our international partner will assist us. The Liberia will move in a direction as we come together. Today we have 29 senators, and 28 of the senators have worked together to sign a resolution to bring justice to the victims of our war. I want you, like my police have said, to use the same energy when I protest, not on a partisan line, so that we can fight for the ordinary citizens of our country. The budget before us. Our teachers are now on payroll. Our nurses are now on payroll. We in the opposition, when we raise issues in the interest of bringing interest to our citizens, let us look at it and not on the basis of party politics. So I want to thank you. I want you to lead the Senate as you have led us in signing this resolution, so that it will not be a partisan Senate. So when we raise issues today, other senators from opposition, they may not part of their red agenda. We get a majority, so when we speak, you have to listen. We have the majority, so when we speak, you have to listen. So you're not trying to pull it on one other issue. When it comes to war crime issue, we use our majority. Okay, very well. Thank you for that. So I want to input. I don't want to lecture. You've done a lot of work. I want to thank all my colleagues. I want to thank Senator Needland, Yaya Needland, Senator Prince Johnson, and every one of us who supported this process. You know, people a lot of people in the public believe that we're not going to support it. I want to thank all my colleagues. Everything you said it in the interest of Liberia. God bless you, my protest. God bless all members of the Senate. We look forward to the true establishment of the code in the soonest possible time. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you.
Senator, what is done to you going to speak? Give us that confidence.
Distinguished senators, today I'm one of the happiest citizens of this country today. Giving God the glory first, let me again appreciate the people of River Says for giving me the opportunity as a son of a victim to stand in the Liberian Senate today to be debating this issue. Our father was executed. A month later, when all of us, he had just been executed, there were 5 permanent citizens publicly executed. Ancestors on June 2. When we got home, we mustered the courage to use the Lebanese community to meet General Noriega, quote-unquote General Guan, but he had a code name, General Noriega. And we appealed to him because my father Barry and my father Bruce Nelson, Tom Afanimle, Joe Trey, and John Beshman, the 5 of them.
They drag their bodies on the beach in substance. And we appeal to the man, please give us the body. Since he has been executed, let carry him home, bury him, and tell his grandchildren, your grandfather that was executed at the grave. And the man sat before us in our meeting and told us that it was the law of their war that when they kill somebody, the person cannot be buried. For those of you who are senators here, you're checking the senator. On June 13, 2003, when the Accra Peace Accord was going on in Ghana, I wrote an article commemorating the 30th anniversary of that execution. And I just researched it from the Perspective website that carried that article when I wrote it. And I just sent it in the Senate chapel. Just look at the last sentence. I said, let the victim rest in peace and be assured that one day history will be the case. So we are reached there. I represent every child, every children, everybody who parents, families fell victim of the Civil War. I represent the interest in the Senate because I'm a son of it. But my fellow senators, I have concerns. We will not scratch our nose because we want to wash the face. I wish I had the opportunity, which I wanted to do, to speak to the issue before signing the resolution. But the protocol demanded that I should sign before I speak. You laughing for them? It was a pressure. I've never wanted to speak before that. But anyway, we are here and we have to move. First, to we the Liberians. What is it that we want? We respond to event or we want to tell our country. We celebrated this war. Even people who were against the war in 1990, we celebrated them with bad mouth. Politicians who disagree with the war, we put them down in this society, in this country. We demonstrated. Even though was mocking, he should come down. We ate it. Rebel forces to penetrate. Today, and we let it start there. We supported and still equal electing major actors of the war to have political positions. At the same time, we say we're celebrating war black Korea. What this country went through, it was like one American missionaries that left Rwanda after the genocide. The American missionary told the Time magazine in 1994 that there was no devils left in hell, they were all in Rwanda. That's what we went through here. And we were celebrating in it. And we're still electing the fashion leaders. At the same time, under the same breath, we call it for war crime. What is it that we want? We have to value ourselves. When I had the incident with the 4 foreign journalists that I hosted in this country, and they were arrested by the Taylor regime when I left, I was in Abidjan. 2 Western Embassy's official. One night they invited me for dinner in Abidjan. And while we were together that night, at the same time, at that time they were pushing Taylor for this support of war, the Arab US rebel. And one of them said, Wellington, do you really believe that Taylor supported the Arab US rebel? And I said, yes. And he said, what's your thing? I said, he was right. And he said, oh, wow. I said, because as part of the international conspiracy against Liberia, the killing that was Charles Taylor, that was given to Charles Taylor to be prime minister or de facto prime minister in Ivory Coast, going to Liberia in the day, kill Liberians, prosecute the war, come and sleep sound in Ivory Coast with nobody from the level of the United Nations support condemning Ivory Coast for watching Taylor as a rebel and destroying Liberia. Taylor as a newcomer on the international political scene is giving that treatment to average rebel. And you're crying, Father. So it was because we are Liberians, our blood don't value. Anything that happened to us, nobody cares. We were in at a journalism here doing the octopus. When Ecomog captured Firestone and killed the journalist there. We started picking up information right there that the Americans supply oil, that NGO oil, that thing, small thing with a handshake on it, from the US, what you say on it. Or consignment of that container was discovered and a social gunshot was inside. So while the air was coming, in the same air package, gunshot was coming to MPFL rebels. There are too much we know in this country. We should value ourselves. And so, on behalf of the Renaissance people, support the establishment for war crime court. One, I have three concerns. One, the executive or the government of Liberia must take this document that we signed today to the UN, to the EU, to the United States, that Liberia wants war and economic plan court. It should not be NGO project. That will suffer donor fatigue when we are in the middle of it. Two, the initial projection for the war in Syria was 75 million. Before they could touch the finishing line, because the war was an agreement between Sierra Leone and the UN, so it was called the UN-backed Special Court in Sierra Leone. From 75 million projection, before they could touch the finishing line, it was 300 million. Do we have the insurance that our money will be made available in the face of the global crisis? It should not be NGO project. Three, their concern. As much we are feeling hurt, and some fellows are still getting wet with tears today because of what happened during the war. Even if the people of Liberia we are poor and suffering, it will be good that we be at peace in our poverty. What am I trying to say? who the government or the executive will make sure that we get an enforcement power before we start a journey. Because when we ready for war crime code, it is not a voter registration where people will come and put their name down and turn their back. When you start identifying the fashion leaders and their major commanders, and they see their personal security being in common, and they form marriage for convenience, and they retreat to the bush, who do we have to go for them?
Why you sound?
Because it's not very important to you. We are not saying that it cannot happen. We are not saying that it will happen. But when you are carrying a road before, the myth we carry in this country was when the MPFL war was coming, everything was going to be all right. Until when we were in it before we knew that it was all wrong. Distinguished senators, today, Liberia has started a journey. But we must make sure that we should reach the final end. Thank you very much.
Senator Pierre Twaway, Riverside County.
Thank you. Presiding and fellow colleagues, I'm very indulgent that you allow me to be seated because I have some back problem. I'm very happy this afternoon to be a signatory to the document for the establishment of a war crime code in Liberia. The people of Riverside are grateful to the ambassador for that government that indeed justice is about to come to our people. We want war crime code, but we want an all-inclusive war crime code. The essence of the war crime code is to serve as deterrence to avoid reoccurrence. Who are those that fuel the war in Liberia? How did the war come about? I want the war crime code to target Liberians in America who collected money to support war in Liberia. We should try to identify them, the major players should identify them, those that make contribution, and the players should come to bring war here, they should face justice in Liberia as well. The people of Rosa also want that the person who opened that cell, they say he broke jail. It's not black and lie. They don't even break any jail. Somebody in America wanted war to come to Liberia. So what did they do? They opened the cell and put him in a garbage truck and took him away. We want to know that person who was in charge of that very cell, who opened that cell and landed the dictator on. We're so intentional of making the terror come to Liberia, so 250,000 of Liberian people in that. I want that person to be part of the war crime code. I also, the poor Rosa also want that the person who was saying that somewhere and telling me the terror, Samuel Doe, go to Freeport, we'll find an extra route for you. That person led Taylor to his death trap. And go to his death trap. Anybody who was involved in the process of cajoling Doe to go to Freeport with the hope that he and his immediate family are going to leave. That person that made that call, to trace that call, whosoever was involved into it, that person should face the war crime code here in Liberia as well. The poor Rosa also want the abhorrence that opened their border for guns to pass through their country to come to Liberia and kill our people. Those that are responsible in Africa. We don't talk about deterrence. If you want to attack those that implement the war in Liberia, anytime somebody want to initiate war in Africa, you need to open that border again. But I want to keep the national community to also look at the route that was used. What was the conduit? Where did you pass? Who allowed you to enter another country and go there and cause the mayhem? I want those that are establishing the good that Mr. Allen White is here. I hope and pray that he will see he got interest in the war crime code. That war crime code will come to Liberia. So he even took a time to kind of visit here so that we can discuss the war crime code in his interest. Be like, well, we have signed the paper. Your war crime code coming. So what the benefit thereafter, they go to you. But what I want to say is that the countries that were involved are transit points for the kind of going into our country. Those countries will also investigate those that were the agents that led guns to come to our country. The Procedural also told me that some of them have called Prince Johnson while you're on the Calvary base. They say, go to the court, don't go in there, go and grab me. Then all of them already on the ground, those you are in the safe zone, bring all your guns. Those that call Prince Johnson, that Prince need to go to the court to capture those. They led Prince Johnson to that brutal death he gave to those. Anybody who was involved in that process, maybe Prince will tell who you're going, Tango. They like grown people, especially before process country. The one, the Tango is also one of those that committed war crime code. One of those that committed war crime. So the people of River said one, that person that was in communication with Prince Johnson telling him, go to Freeport do there now. Then maybe the influence ECOMA to disarm him so that he can be captured easily. They come to be the war crime code. They should face the war crime code. They have told me that if we are to legitimize this document that we have signed into law to make it forceful, I should only sign when the war crime code will be all inclusive. That means anybody who was involved in the process by contributing finances. Because even if we establish a war crime code and police Prince Johnson and police those that committed crime, anytime a group of Liberians and Americans collect money again tomorrow, and the city will happen. So it's not a deterrent. It can happen anytime. But they will begin to attack it from the root, where it came from. Those that met in America and had their meetings and collected money, and those that helped to open the cell to get him up and put him in a garbage truck to come to Africa and put the money for him to go to Liberia and do training. Those people should also face the war crime code. And I also want to appeal to you that even during the time of the war crime code here, I want you to bring Mr. Taylor to testify. Yep. Those that help you in the process, so you can leave them. Those that collect that money, the very thing that will mandate the cell that free. Maybe you still know that person. I want to put the time of facing war crime code. If that is not in our final document, Rosa will not stand.
But you sound ready.
I'm going to stand for the law. I will fight against the law. It will not bring those perpetrators, those that initiate the war, those that fuel the war on the Liberian people. They will not bring them here. And my friend, River says, I have to tell you, they will not pass into the law the establishment of the war crime code. I thank you as of this.
Grand Crew Council. Senator Professor Abaki Bakir.
On September 19, 2019, former president, we have with the Senate to seek our advice on the implementation of the TRC recommendation. By then, I was the president pro tempore. It took almost 1.5 years to do research. We consulted domestic lawyers, we consulted international lawyers, the Senate paid, and we came out with a document. The document was approved on June 22, 2021, advising the president on what to do. I was one of the signatories to that document, 22 pages. I stand by that report. Again, in the new government, we received a resolution from the Honorable House of Representatives. It was presented to the Committee on Judiciary and Defense, and I'm a member of the Judiciary Committee. It took almost 2 weeks to look at that resolution. We studied it carefully. We looked at all the implications, the legal ramifications, and so forth. So today, we have signed that resolution. My signature is on this resolution, and I believe in this resolution. If you want to know my view, read the resolution, and my view is in this resolution. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Mary.
Senator Minute H. Takwa.
Madam President of Assembly, distinguished colleagues, I want to thank you also to join previous speakers to commend you for the courage and led us this far. I also want to thank the Senate because the way we were being looked at, thinking that we were not interested in ensuring justice for people who were victimized during the war. Some of us were confronted with many issues when the issue of the war crime was being traded. My issues personally are twofold. I have concern on procedural matters with the resolution itself. And I have concern on really what should be my priority as representative for the people of the country. Yes, all of us were victims of the war. I did not go out of this country. The only far place I went was in Yucatan, the place where they call Saxtown in Pommy Highways. I read there, my family, and when the guns little bit subsided, I came. And when I was going to Saxtown, I was highly confronted with the issue of coming from Great People. The people said, Grant, this is a lie. You go from Grant.
The same grant.
I said, Grant, I'm not from Grant. They said that the same Grant. The same Grant. I went through that serious problem until God came in the house and allowed my family to go. So I remained in New Kuta until the war subsided and we came back to Central Town. Yes, the situation that happened, the pattern that happened in Liberia, the people who died, over 250,000 persons. There is nobody that can honor the need for justice for them. The war became issue of history 2004. It is about 20 years now. I came to the legislation 2011, left Grand Crew with a commitment to my people. I'm going there to join the leaders of this country in show development. Since I came, there is no impact major in the life of our people. Just because there is no way today our budget is still 692 million. It can't even provide money for roads to go to Grand Crew. Nothing. Our people are in desperation. They suffering. When you go there and talk to them, I'm thinking that the next budget year, I will represent you. Stay. Our budget can go up. So then I have been asked to support the issue of war crime. Yes, 20 years ago. Once succeeded, and yeah, came to an end. 20 years ago, we have peace. They said, no, there's need for justice. I said, yes. So why should we prioritize the life of our people? When the old man was leaving, we thought as done in other countries, reconstruction assistance was going to come from the international community. Zero. There's no way. And the international community that are today pressing up for the war crime, none of them is really advocating we need to implement reconstruction since the war has come to an end in Liberia. We are continuously in ruin. Our roads are impossible. Our health centers are in ruin. Education, but impossible. Why is our priorities? Yes, we will go justice. I'm really looking forward to people who are now advocating for us, prepared to help us. Other senators talk about 200 million. But my information is that before it comes to an end, we will use 500 million. I wish that 500 million could be put on the coastal highway. I will bet your name is the otherwise on that road. If you let us. I will erect your knee. I will pass an act that the man needs to be inspected on this road that he advocated for the people in the southeast to be redeemed from the nightmare that they suffered from. Today, yes, implementing war crime people who are here justice will be done. When it's done, they will leave us here. So, yes, the demand has come. I signed it, and we will all support it. I hope the same pressure that is being mounted on it after it. Our people who are helping us now, driving it in the international community, they will come again and help us and see how Liberia can be within our aid. Back when the whole region, Liberia is alone. Go to Ghana, you shame. Go to Africa, shame. Go to when as soon you leave Liberia border, when you enter Sierra Leone, that different place you are. Where are we, Liberia? What is our priorities? Our people looking up to us for representation to redeem them out of this nightmare. These very people that are advocating for this, as soon as African president, they will go and will be there here. However, we signed it so that they can say we don't want it. We want justice. We want peace. And I have to ask them to help us. We have our resources that will help us to redeem us out of this process. I am the chair on the committee, Senate committee on concessions and investment. We have people, they say foreign direct investment when it can, you'll be hedged. As soon as they come, no added value. Nobody asking them, say, oh no, we will help you to demand these people to add value on your resources. We have the Bachiko, only the raw material they taken. We have the B Marty, only the raw material they taken. China, New York, only the raw material they taken. MG Co, only the raw material they taken.
Firestone.
At Firestone, only the raw material they taken. Land, only the raw material. Equatorial Pan, only the raw material. DDL, only the raw material. MOPP, only the raw. Extra meter, only the raw material. Can you help us and see how we can hold these people accountable in the life of our people to increase our budget? It's only 692 million. It can't help our people. Our people, the situation is serious. What do we do to add all these people accountable? Can the international community that are helping us now? The people of Green Crew are suffering. No road, no good school, no health center, good health facilities. The major health center in Bachelor, now 20,000 it has in the budget. When I'm talking, can you see the competing priorities so small, the budget small, how will be increased? Some people, senators, the way we are now, galvanizing our efforts to stand up for this war plan. Can we stand up to these people? Yes. That let us put a checkpoint for people to start carrying our raw materials. If they want to go, let them go. Let we our raw material be here. Let them be with us. If nobody can help us, see what is going on in all of the countries where the resources are being exploited. When they say they will help you, they will give you 50,000 to go to school. What? They go you take it from there now, 50,000 to go to school. So we are saying it. But on the side, police, you know when you agree to do something, agree in total. Always say we should not play politics with it. To me, when I agree to do something, I've agreed. Let's support the work record. The idea in this resolution asking the executive to define legal framework. Our constitution gave 3 distinct branches and gave the responsibility distinctly. We are the lawmaking body. Can we ask the executive to make law? Are we agreeing to create war crime? Why don't we make the legal framework and ask the executive to do it? We still have not decided to support the process. If we decide to support the process, instead of even our colleagues bringing a resolution seeking for concurrence, nobody can compose with resolution. Draft the law, send it to us, we look at it. The only way the executive can come to us for a legal problem is they will bring the agenda.
Amen. Let me stop.
They will bring the agenda, legislative agenda.
No road that should come pay for.
They will bring the legislative agenda to us. We cannot ask them. Then we also asking them to set up an office, create an office. No, we can create institutions of the government, and then the executive is empowered to man them. So we can't ask the executive to create an office. We have the power, legislatively create the power. So if we are agreed, let us do it in full, in line with our function as the lawmaking body of this institution. If we agree, we should not show any part of the responsibility. Let us do it properly and give the executive the responsibility to implement. The implement and to raise the money to do all of it. But the issue of the framework is our responsibility.
Amen.
Lord G. County. So that you can watch our soul.
So thank you, Madam Procedural, and thank you, fellow colleagues. A lot has been said. And I think you have just few words people don't have anybody. So we've heard from several colleagues. One on the other hand, not too much in favor of other people are asking for other things. But when you combine all of the arguments, it further gave us reason to establish the post. Because I see people lamenting even when they're telling the story. I see people who are grieving for their parents. I see people who themselves have been victimized. I give us the testimony over here. And all of these things needs closure. So let's go to the courts. And even the perpetrators can go and investigate themselves. Because some people did this thing in self-defense. How do we know? Hence, the courts. So I'm glad that I'm in this process today, making history for our people and trying to bring justice to where it is. I hear some people say, it's not the time, it's too early. When will it ever be the time? There was a situation in a place called Laru, which you would refer to as the Laru Massacre. And it's celebrated every year. And the same questions been asked as to who did this. Maybe this can bring some closure to the people as well. But I'm voting, I thank you for this opportunity, and I think other people who have spoken, and I hope we can do this thing as expeditiously as possible. Thank you.
Senator Francis S. Doku the second.
Yeah, the budget.
Senator Boto Khan.
Hey, bro.
Brother, distinguished colleagues, I affix my signature to that resolution because I am happy of the war crime code and economic crime code. But now we're standing. Psalm 23 says, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, but I fear no evil. And I believe what all cannot do does not exist. So the rest is left with God and whosoever that are coming to bring the world and good. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Senator Amara and Conde.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, distinguished colleagues. Thank you so much. I've been moved by stories and the emotions that have been expressed by my colleagues. And today I am happy to be in the Senate because we've made history. Yesterday I was one of the first to sign the resolution for the establishment of the War and Economic Grants Corps for Liberia. Today I voted with you all, yes, to do that. As I signed yesterday, I laughed with all of you, but I was filled with emotion. Papa, as I called him, was beheaded along with 3 of my brothers, all of them males. But they did that along with 2 uncles and their families, our family friends, people that I grew up with, our neighbors. I have known all of my life in our thriving village, Lasa Camp, in Buffalo County. They had escaped the village, but the rebels hunted them out of their hiding place in the middle of the forest they call South Africa, in Bophutha, dense forest. They were murdered on a bridge in Smithtown that they helped to build through communal labor. This happened in 1990 after the arrival of ECOMOG. Then my parents' elder son, Lai Musa, we call him, was also beheaded in front of his younger brother, Abu, my elder brother, at the infamous Popular Factory checkpoint in Kingsville, the Monrovia suburb that was manned by the late Abu Musa. They killed him because the MPFL soldiers noticed a prayer mark on his forehead, an Islamic prayer mark. And then when they searched his bed, they found a prayer heart. He was on his way to his uncle, Imam Barclay, to hide there. He was the third Imam for our mosque in Bassa camp. He was a devout Muslim. He had come to Monrovia in search of opportunities like our late mother had wished for all of us. They killed him. Then the uncle he was going to, my father's younger brother, my favorite uncle among all his brothers who lived in Mount Barclay, outside of Monrovia, for nearly all his life, and where my mother took her last breath when she was battling cancer, was also killed the same way, along with his two wives, when they screamed at the sight of seeing their husband head off. What was their crime? What did they commit? And they have for justice. What was the crime? Their only crime was because of their tribal identity. They were Mandingos, one of Liberia's 16 tribes. I was 17-year-old at the time, and I survived that war only by the grace of God. So these gruesome acts I have just described to you were committed by MPFL rebels between July and October of 1990. I don't know who they are. I can't stand here and say I know them. There are no burial sites for my family to serve as a memorial and comfort to me and my family. The only monument to their lives is my choice and that of my family members to live meaningful lives and be kind to others in their home. I struggled through the grief and trauma as a young immigrant student at Drexel University in Philadelphia, USA. I cried and mourned their murder. I was alone.
But I'm going to attention for this. As you all will agree with me, we have experienced 18 years of democratic governance and peace.
including the Young for War and Economic Grants in Liberia. I also recognize that until today, I have to find closure for myself and for the community that suffered this devastation with me as I can in Botwood County, Ghana District. So when I was Minister of Finance here and Minister of Planning, and the TRC submitted its report to the legislature and the debate started, I liked the Palava Hall approach. But as a leader, I didn't have the power to make that happen. I decided to do my own Palava Hall with my people in Bassa Camp. So we went to Bama district, from Bama to Wiswa, where most of the unheard of massacres that happened, villages were annihilated. You go to my part of the country today, you see nothing but poor foundations in all of these villages. Once thriving towns, people who had nothing to do with politics, they were just raising us, their children, in the middle of the Bula forest to have a better life. He killed them. So we assembled. We confronted people who had connived with the rebels to kill their neighbors. This was back in 2010. People cried. Our sisters that we grew up with told us about how they were raped. The imam who survived because he was a member of the Poro Society explained to us that he got saved because of his membership in the Poro. And then now, after they killed about 80 of his congregation members, he alone had to transport their body to the local river where they were dumped so that there were no traces. That day was, that weekend, we slaughtered 3 cows, said our prayers. Muslims and Christians. I got photographs. We didn't put it in the news because that's not what it was about. I wanted to bring closure to my pain that I've been carrying since I was 17 years old. Refugee boy in Guinea who managed to go to the US. And there I struggled with mental health about this. You know our culture, in Africa, the men are supposed to cry because you will be weak. So I would sit in my car when I'm coming from work and cry out because of what happened to my family. For justice is costly, folks. Yes, I want justice. Yeah, we all want justice, but it's costly. The issue of justice always provokes talk among Liberians. But the question here that some of my colleagues have asked is, how are we going to finance the cost of this justice, given that we don't know what that cost is? And yet people throwing figures around. Who has told anybody that they're going to give me money? Where is the commitment? We don't know the cost. This question, colleagues, Madam Pro Tem, should provoke all of us to think strategically about how to implement and sustain the code, given our limited resources. As my colleague Ellen Snow said, it should not be to get signatures, to kick the can down the road to the other side of this building. So, okay, you send us a resolution, we sign it, here is it. They kick it back to us, then we kick it to the executive mansion. We just go back and forth in circle and we don't mean it. Please don't do that to us. We have signed this resolution. We are not turning back. We now need to roll up our sleeves and make it work. My question arises from my experience in planning and finance. Talking to colleagues, most of you, my friends, here at home and abroad, and my long experience in navigating Liberia's political landscape that is heavily reliant on retribution and sentiments. And we are very light on taking action. That's our culture here. The only time we take action if it is in the other people's family. But if the wrong is done by members of our family, we look away. We look away. This is not a Queen Johnson issue or Senator Yadlin's issue. This is a Liberia problem. Every year since 2010, when the TRC presented the report to the legislature, our lawmakers, some of whom participated in the war, tabled the debate until the next year, until the next year, until the next year. So let us think about the cost of this vote, of this justice we want. The budget is before us. Every day we find that the budget is not enough. Every day we find that the projections were wrong. Every day we find that amounts are not being disclosed. But I want to thank you, Madam Pro Tem, for your leadership, your calm leadership, your ability to bring us together to address this issue while we work on this budget. Thank you for that. But let me remind you that one Justin Sandiford of the Center for Global Development based in Washington, D.C., has published some numbers on the war crimes conviction of former Liberian President Charles Taylor, which took approximately 9 years and a whopping $250 million. The entire budget of the Liberia security and rule of law sector averages about $76.5 million. Out of that, Ministry of Justice 28.8, Judiciary 17, Human Rights Commission, the key component in this conversation we are having, only $960,000. The budget of all of the agencies that execute justice in Liberia falls under the security and the rule of law. Money is going to be a problem here. Now, our biggest partner, I hear people talk about America and all of that. It is time for us to redefine our strategic partnership with the United States. Left undefined, you can't fault the U.S. for doing whatever they want to do here. We need to get around the table. The Cold War is over. The relationship before the Cold War was Cold War politics. That's how they gave President Du all that money. But that's done. We went through the war. Now we're talking about AI, we're talking about technology, we're talking about chat GPT, we're talking about drugs. What is our relationship with this traditional partner? Is it a big brother, small brother relationship? And knowing that we Liberians, we are culturally taught to respect our elder brother. Is that what we want? So I think our dialogue with the United States here should now begin to look forward about what kind of strategic relationship we want to build with our traditional allies, so that we can get them to buy into our commercial plan. This country needs help. They are not the problem or the solution. We are. We should decide where we're going. They can decide to follow us or leave us. That way we can go somewhere else. So, no. Our country, I think we have about 16 circuit courts, if I'm not mistaken. and about 15 magisterial courts. On average, according to the Supreme Court, the courts in Liberia hear about 4,000 to 5,000 criminal cases a year. The limited number of judges, lawyers, and police investigators, and something as small as cell phone credit to contact witnesses that will have I'm talking here. Somebody will get in, let's go forward. And to show our commitment is through the most important policy document for any country, which is the budget. Let's find the money. Let's fund other costs. Since this is a priority, let's find the money to fund this course. While I cannot speculate the cost of the court in Liberia, I raise it now to get us thinking very hard about what this all means and finding a way to fund it. As my country's former finance minister, I'm availing myself to work with all of you and other Liberians to go find the money. But we're not turning back. This is not a political charade.
Yeah. Thank you.
I know where to find the money. Let's work with the executive. Let's go find the money and bring it home and do this course.
Thank you.
So establishing the court for Liberia is necessary for justice and for the people of Liberia to heal. But we must do everything to follow due process, to protect witnesses, and to put in place low risk of wrongful accusations and convictions driven by political or tribal division. Look at today. Whenever we go through elections, one government comes in, they kick the other people out. We condemn one thing during campaigning, we can't repeat the same thing. This is the culture. Are we going to apply that to this justice system we're talking about? Or we're going to have independent, truly independent judges who have no fish to fry in our travel business or political mess that we do here to dispense justice the right way so that we don't have any wrongful convictions here and put people behind bars. Let's think about that, folks. Let's think about that. So I was filled with emotion yesterday when I signed that resolution in the pro tem office. I didn't show it to you people. It was a happy mood because it was history we were making. I didn't want to spoil it for you. And as she sat there calmly, nudging us on, it gave me hope in your leadership. It gave me hope in Liberia's future. I felt a sigh of relief afterwards, but I worried that this might be a political charade when I'm still there. I'm still standing here worried about that. But the resolution is only the first step. Now President Ouattara must demonstrate political will and lead our nation through this difficult and very expensive journey. For my father, my siblings, my uncles, and the other nearly 250,000 Liberians who lost their lives in that senseless war. Our signature on that resolution today is a victory for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all of our distinguished senators for a very meaningful and historic movement.
want to say thank you for your support to accountability through your signature to the resolution. There is an initial start as stated by all of us. And I'm sure that with the oversight responsibilities that we have in the authority, we can ensure that all of our concerns will be addressed and that this will not be a issue. With that said, I would like to ask all of you if we can defer all other items on the agenda to Tuesday, to Thursday, but deal with the confirmation issue. Thank you so much. So with all confirmation.
So let's do the confirmation.
So we'll do confirmation and then we'll address that, but the resolution was already sent, has been sent to the House of Representatives for concurrence and it was received and then it was sent. Thank you. Anybody has any confirmation here? Report.
Report from the committee on confirmation.